Our speaker tonight is Dolores Miller. Hallelujah. Ken and Dolores have been on the HUB team from the beginning. They've been friends for years and years and years. And I think Dolores is coming into her own, things that she's been praying about, that we've been praying with her for about, that I believe that, yeah, it's good. It's very, very good. Thank you for being willing to share tonight. We all love you.
Thank you, Greg. And thank you to each of you for being here. I know it's a busy time of year, and so I just really appreciate you being here. My prayer is that God will give each one of you something as a takeaway, whether you're here in this room or online. I just really want him to speak something to you, you know? So we're going to talk about great faith tonight. Great faith is something I usually pray for when I'm praying for something that is not forthcoming. And so then I begin to think, if I could pray for great faith and I get great faith, then I'd be able to get what I'm praying for. And one of my go-to stories is the Syrophoenician woman that had the demon-possessed daughter. You know that story, right? It's found in Matthew 15 and also Mark 7. And I've taken both accounts and put the details together into one storyline. So I'm going to read that. I'm reading from both Matthew 15 and Mark 7 at the same time. And as I read this, listen to the details. Listen to the barriers that this lady encounters. Leaving that place, Jesus withdrew to the region of Tyre and Sidon. And he entered a house and did not want anyone to know it, yet he could not keep his presence secret. In fact, as soon as she heard about him, a Canaanite woman from that vicinity came to him. She was a Greek, born in Syrian Phoenicia, and her little daughter was possessed by an impure spirit. The woman came to him, crying out, "Lord, Son of David, have mercy on me. My daughter is demon-possessed and suffering terribly." And she begged Jesus to drive the demon out of her daughter. Jesus did not answer a word. So his disciples came to him and urged him, "Send her away, for she keeps crying out after us." He answered, "I was sent only to the lost sheep of Israel." The woman came and knelt before him. "Lord, help me," she said. And he replied, "Well, first, let the children eat all they want," he told her. "It is not right to take the children's bread and toss it to the dogs." "Well, yes, that's true, Lord," she said. "But even the dogs under the table eat the children's crumbs that fall from their master's table." Then Jesus said to her, "Woman, you have great faith. For such a reply you may go. The demon has left your daughter. Your request is granted." And her daughter was healed at that moment. She went home and found her child lying on a bed and the demon gone. You have to feel for this woman, don't you? I mean, look at all the barriers she went through to get her request. Quite a few. Very first barrier is that she needs to get child care for this child. Because if you're going to go find Jesus, you cannot take a demon-possessed daughter with you. Now, don't you know, she has probably exhausted her resources. She's probably spent her money on doctors, on therapists, perhaps even religious leaders, community resources, and she probably it's a little difficult to find child care for this child because she's a special needs child. I had a friend who had a special needs child, and she called me one afternoon and asked if I would keep him for a couple hours. Now, at this point in time, he was like kind of junior high age, almost my height, probably stronger than me. And I was like, "Ooh, I don't know." I hesitated. And she goes, "Please." And I'm like, "Oh, I know she's desperate. But it's just one afternoon. What could happen, right?" So I said, "Okay." So she dropped him off. He had 0 attention span, 0. I tried a couple things. No, He would just wander from room to room, and I couldn't trust him out of my sight. I didn't know what he'd get into, so I would just follow him from room to room. It took me maybe 5 minutes to get thoroughly bored. So I'm thinking, okay, what can we do? And I thought, let's go outside. We had a fenced-in backyard at the time, beautiful day. Let's go outside. Come on, let's go outside. So we went outside, and the first thing he did, ninja warrior that he was, climbed right up to the top of the jungle gym. I could almost reach him, almost. And I'm like, whew, I don't know. But he didn't have any trouble getting up there, so he'll probably be okay. So I went to sit down, and then it hit me. Oh, no. What if he has a seizure up there? Because he was prone to grand mal seizures. And there's no platform up there. It's just bars. And if he catches an arm or leg, if he falls, I was like, oh, come, it's time to come down. Come. He just smirks at me. It's like, come on, come down. I can't go up after him. There's no way. I'm like, what am I going to do? Come on, you need to come down. And he finally came down. And as he's coming down, I'm realizing our fenced-in backyard, the fence is only about this tall. There's a gate. It's great for preschoolers, but for someone that's junior high age, that doesn't have the sense of a junior high age person, I said, let's go inside. And as we went inside, I reconciled myself to the fact that I was going to be following him around from room to room the whole time. And I don't remember anything else about that afternoon, except I remember checking my watch once and thinking, ooh, time's moving really slow. And I remember his mother coming in the driveway and thinking, thank goodness she's here. How does she do this all day? Every day. And this woman doesn't just have a special needs child. She has a demon-possessed daughter. Do you know you cannot let that daughter out of your sight at all? How does she ever sleep? How does she ever have friends, maintain friendships? She certainly can't work. I was like, this lady is desperate. So first barrier, she has to find childcare. Somehow she's able to manage that. She gets that done. And now she's got another barrier. She has to find Jesus. He's in the vicinity somewhere. That's kind of vague. So I can just imagine her setting out, probably up on foot, because there's no mention of a donkey or a camel or SUV. And I imagine her checking with everyone she comes past. Excuse me, sir, have you seen Jesus? Do you know where he's at? Am I going in the right direction? All right. Excuse me, ma'am. Have you seen Jesus? Have you heard? I've heard he's in this area. Do you know him? A couple days ago. Aye. Somehow she finds out he's in a house. Excuse me, do you know? Is Jesus, I heard he's in a house. Do you know where he's at? How long do you think she had to look? And was there a point when she went, what am I doing? It's like looking for a needle in a haystack. What do you do when God hides himself? It's useless. I may as well go home. What's her option? If she turns around now and goes home, she goes home to the same problem, only now there is no hope at all. The only hope is to press on. And wouldn't it be a shame if she gave up one person short of finding out where he is? Okay, I'll ask one more person. Excuse me, sir, have you seen where Jesus is? Do you know? Is he in this vicinity? Oh, yes, that's great. And somehow, probably through a gentleman as kind as this gentleman is, she found the right house. And somehow she knows it's the right house. I keep wondering, how does she know? How did she know she had the right house? Was it because there was this crowd in the front yard, all the paparazzi around, you know? In which case, she has another barrier because she has to make her need known above everybody else's. Or were there just a few people that knew? And she had to find one of the few that knew and convince him to tell just her. In any case, she found the house. And you would think now her search is done and things are all good, right? No. She's got 12 men, and it's their responsibility to stand between Jesus, who needs some quiet time, and the crowd. How long do you think it takes for some 12 men, especially some of those that are hardened fishermen, how long do you think it takes for them to give up and decide it's not going to work to send her away? But now listen, do you think that she has come all this far and surmounted all these barriers, and now she knows where Jesus is? Do you think that she is going to give up now and go home to hopelessness? Oh, no. She's not giving up. And so she keeps yelling and calling out and calling out. And now she's got another barrier. Jesus answers not a word. I'm like, seriously? He's ignoring her? Doesn't this strike you as a bit uncharacteristic for Jesus? It's not the Jesus I've been reading about in Scripture. And I think the disciples must have even noticed too, because they wrote those details in this story. And then he says, well, I was only sent to the children of Israel. He may as well have said, and I wasn't sent to the likes of you. I mean, was it not bad enough that he was ignoring her and now he's rejecting her? This is not like the Jesus I know. What gives? And it gets worse. Then he starts calling her names. He calls her a dog. And I want to grab this character in this story and say, who are you and what have you done with the real Jesus? Because it's so out of character. But now we know how the story ends. We know that she perseveres, because what else are you going to do? She perseveres, and he finally says, you have great faith. You have your request. And now if this is happening in the 21st century, she takes out her cell phone and she calls the caregiver and she says, hey, how's the daughter? I have Jesus right in front of me here. Have you noticed? Is she doing okay? Because if the job's not done, I can ask him to try again. She didn't have a cell phone. She has to turn, leave the house, do the distance back. How far was that? Quarter mile, 2 miles, 10, 20? And it's not until she checks the house and sees the bed where the daughter is that she now knows and sees the manifestation of what he said. That woman had great faith. And it was one of those times when I was reading the story and praying for great faith that I got to the end of the story and there was this thought that came that I believe is the Holy Spirit. And he said, she did not have great faith and therefore surmount all those barriers. She had great faith because of those barriers, not in spite of them. Oh. That's a new thought. Is it biblical? So I did some checking because I thought if this is a concept that's really biblical, there'll be some other verses that actually say that. And you know, it wasn't hard to find. They were not my favorite verses. I tended to read them rapidly and get on to the good stuff. But I'm going to just do one today. There are several, but one. It's Romans 5, verses 3 to 5. This is Paul writing to the Romans, and he says this. We also celebrate in our tribulations. Wait, what? Celebrate tribulations. I don't usually use those two words in the same sentence. Paul's crazy. Who in his right mind would write something like this? Who would want to celebrate in their tribulations? But I've read Paul's writings, and they are not the writings of a crazy man. In fact, he's got an incredible intelligence and great logic. So that can only mean that he knows something about this I don't know. Do I want to know it? Let's read on. We also celebrate in our tribulations, knowing that tribulation brings about perseverance. I don't see that connection. And perseverance, proven character. Okay, don't see that one either. And proven character, hope. And hope does not disappoint because the love of God has been poured out within our hearts through the Holy Spirit who has been given to us. Now we're talking, that's the kind of verse I like. Yes, hope. There are 4 words here that are significant. Tribulation. Let's go with trial, shall we? It's a little shorter. Trial, perseverance, and then proven character. The emphasis, it's actually translated character in some translations, and some of them say experience, but the Greek is actually, the emphasis is on the proven, as in something that's tried and tested and proven. So we'll go with that. Trial, perseverance, proven, and hope. So tribulation or trial produces perseverance. How can that be? You know, when we have a trial, we have this feeling inside. It's an uncomfortable feeling. It's like fear or dread or frustration, maybe a deep unmet need, something that we care a lot about. And we go and we want to find something that takes care of that. So we try different things. We try stuff like alcohol and drugs, parties and shopping and chocolate. But it propels us to do something. And if we're honest with ourselves, sooner or later we reach a point where what we're trying isn't working and we look toward Jesus. Then, when we look toward Jesus, he is our hope. He is the only real hope. It's a sad commentary on human nature that sometimes we need that prodding and that uncomfortable feeling to actually pursue him. When I was in high school, well, actually, I had just graduated from high school, and I was feeling so free, and I was feeling so successful. And I was driving through town, and I actually literally prayed this prayer. I said, God, thank you so much. You got me through high school. I really appreciate that. I'll take it from here. Stupid prayer? Oh my goodness. I'm so thankful he does not listen to my stupid prayers and does not answer them the way I prayed them, right? But when we realize that we need something bigger than ourselves to deal with what we're dealing with, then we're willing to look beyond ourselves to find Jesus. Yeah. And then, as we are looking at him, and that feeling still stays there, we keep, what are we going to do? Like the lady. She's coming, she's looking, she's trying to find that relief. And what does she do? She has to persevere. And so it causes us to continue to persevere. Because if we don't, we're facing hopelessness like she was. But if we face him, we're facing hope. And it's as we gaze at him, as we continue to look at him, we become more aware of who he is. And we persevere in that direction because we know that's where hope is. Builds perseverance into us. What do you think is the most basic level of faith? What's the basic level? Hebrews 11 says that without faith, it's impossible to please him, but he who would come to him must believe that he exists and that he is a rewarder of those who seek him. Two things. He exists, he's a rewarder. Little faith, but hey, you can move mountains with little faith, right? And then how do we know if we have faith? Hebrews 11 has a definition too. You're probably familiar with that. The faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. I like to just boil it down to one word. It's a knowing. You know. Can't explain it. Doesn't make sense. Probably couldn't tell anybody else about it. You can't explain it even to yourself perhaps, but you just know. There's this thing inside that you just know. And when you have that knowing, it will change your actions. Let me illustrate. Let's say that there's this 4-story building, and you have a man at the top of the building, and he is looking down, and the building's on fire. And down below are the firemen with those old-timey trampolines, you know? And they're looking up and they're saying, jump, we'll catch you. The buildings, I don't want to say that loud. There's no way out. But if you jump, you'll be okay. Come on, jump, we'll catch you. Question is now, will he jump? If he does not jump, I guarantee you there's something he's not believing. Assuming he wants to live, which we will assume for the purpose of the story. That if he does not jump, he does not believe that this building's on fire, or he does not believe it's the only way out, or he does not believe he'll be okay if he jumps. But if he believes all that, if it's in here in his knowing, then he will jump. The faith will produce action. And there are times when I realize, I missed God again. I didn't do what he wanted me to do. I can look at that and go, you know what? There was something there. I either didn't believe it was really God, or I didn't believe he would see me through, or I didn't believe that his values were better than the values I brought to the situation, or I didn't believe his way was better than my way. Something. And there's no condemnation in that. It's just like he's shining the light on it. He knew it all along, but now I know it. And I go, okay, God, here it is. I can't fix this. Would you fix it? And he is the one who gives faith, and we are in a position of receiving that faith. We can refuse it. Not a good idea, but we do have that option. But our role is to receive, and he's the one that gives. So then perseverance brings proven character. As long as we're moving toward the answer, our focus is on Jesus. And as we are focusing on him, we become more aware of who he is and his love and his faithfulness. And we put our faith, our hope in him. Our focus is on him, and that faithfulness, we become more aware of his faithfulness. And as we walk with that, it's like in our understanding, his faithfulness is tried and tested and proven. At the same time, he is pouring his likeness into us because what we focus on, we become. And so we become more like him, and our character is tried and tested and proven. So that perseverance brings proven character. Sometimes our faith hits a wall. We're walking with this faith, we have this faith, we're walking in it, and we hit this wall where it's too late. It didn't work. What happened? It's worthless. That's what we feel. May as well throw it away. And our faith falls to the ground. If we can truly walk away from that, grieve it and walk away from it, then that faith was not real faith. It was not birthed in his heart. It was birthed in our own thinking and understanding. But if after it hits the ground and we find that we cannot fully walk away from it, that we've grieved it, we've walked through the whole grief process, and yet at some point it's like, there's something still there. It's still there. It's that faith that's starting to grow. It's like that seed, mustard seed. Do you know that if you plant a seed, an apple seed, you do not get pears? Did you know that? You never get pears. Not only that, not only will you get apples, but you will get the same variety of apples that the parent tree had. How is that possible? I mean, have you ever dug up a seed after you've planted it a couple days later, and it's kind of mushy and decaying? You would think there was no way it could survive. How can it keep all that DNA right there? Why doesn't the DNA go out into the soil and mix with other DNA? And then you get apple pears or something. How is it that when you plant an apple seed, you actually get an apple tree? And when you plant a mustard seed, you do not get cotton. That when you truly plant a mustard seed of faith, you get a tree that is strong and sturdy and durable. That faith that is from the heart of God will not die when it falls to the ground. It grows. And faith that comes from the heart of God has the whole heart of God driving it. And it's durable. It's an amazing thing, really. So we have our faith tried, tested, and proven. We have our character tried, tested, and proven. And we know in our understanding God's faithfulness is tried, tested, and proven. And that which is proven brings hope. We know who Jesus is. We know his faithfulness. We know his kindness. We know that he has our best interests in mind. And our hope, our faith is based on him. And we come to a new level of intimacy with him. Every time we go through a trial and come through that trial, we have a new level of faith and a new level of intimacy with him. That's what he's been working at. Do you think that he would allow a trial just so he could relieve us of those feelings of the trial? No, he has something much higher in mind. We come to him for relief of those feelings, but he is bringing about something much greater. His heart is to bring us into oneness. And every time we reach a place where our faith is steadfast and solid at this level, and then it begins to shake again, he is getting ready to move us to another level. And you can kind of know a little bit of what he's working on to make it steadfast when you know what questions you're asking. That has something to do with what he will be solidifying in your life. But it all starts with Jesus, because he is the author of our faith and the perfecter. And he gives that faith to us at a pace that we can receive, because we can't receive it all at once. So he gives it to us bit by bit at a pace that we can receive it. So now, how did Jesus bring hope to the Canaanite woman? We still have that question outstanding. Why did he treat her that way? Why did he ignore her and then reject her and then demean her by calling her names? What was going on? I would like to suggest that he saw that she needed a healing as surely as her daughter needed a healing. That he wanted to speak to that place inside of her that had been demeaned and ignored and pressed down to the bottom rung of society. Because a society that would look at a blind man and say, who sinned, him or his parents, would look at her and not even have to ask the question. Of course you deserve what you got. Obviously there must be sin. That's what society would have said to her. And so she would be very much pressed down and hurting. And he wanted to heal that place. And so to do that, he could just, if he had just said the words like could have said, without opening her up emotionally, those words would have just kind of gone over and just flowed on. They wouldn't have gone to the deep place where they needed to go to really bring the healing. So he had her feel those emotions, and then he spoke the words to bring the healing so that those words landed at that deep place inside of her and took root there. And then he exposed her faith, and he elevated her value. He said to her, "You have great faith." Wouldn't you like to see Peter's face at that moment? Because just the chapter before, he was walking on water and almost didn't make it, and Jesus said, "Oh, ye of little faith." But little faith can move mountains, you know. He got out of the boat. So he tells her that she has great faith, but he does something else too. He says, because of this answer, you have what you requested. Because of this answer. It's like he's saying to her, you have answered wisely. You have debated with the rabbi, and you had a good answer. In fact, you win the debate. You win. You get the prize. And in that, he was also saying, she brought something of value to this conversation. She was not just a charity case, but she brought something of value. And it's like he's saying, you brought this had value, and because of this, you have your answer. You deserve your answer. And it removed the scourge where society was saying, you deserve the problem. And he brought a deep healing to her, not only lifting her value, but also healing her at a very deep place. And I want to just mention a little bit how great her faith was. She had that quick reply. I don't know how she came up with it so fast. Yes, even the dogs get the crumbs. But she was saying, she was bringing to him her problem. And it was a huge problem. It was a problem that said, this is consuming me. I don't have what it takes to take care of this. But she was also saying that Jesus, your power is so big that all I need is just little crumbs. That's it. The children of Israel will not even miss it. I am not going to take anything away from them. They will not know anything is missing. I'm only asking for crumbs. In fact, if Jesus had really wanted to get rid of her really quick, he could have just said, she's healed, go. But he took time. He prolonged the conversation with her because he had more he wanted to do. He had more to give her than what she came for. And I've timed it. You know how long it takes to say she's healed, go? 2 seconds. Every time I've timed it, it's been 2 seconds. And she's like saying, I only need 2 seconds. That's it. I'm not asking you to fast 14 days. I'm not asking you to pray for 5 hours. I just need 2 crumbs. And she's acknowledging how great his power is, so much greater than her huge problem. She also says, Lord, have mercy on me. Lord, acknowledging his authority. But she says, have mercy. Notice what she does not say. She does not say, if you heal my daughter, I will give you all this money. She probably didn't have it to give. But she does not say, if you heal my daughter, I will serve you. I will prepare your food for you. I will clean up. I will wash your feet. She does not even say, if you heal my daughter, I will give testimony to everyone I see. In that, she is acknowledging his willingness to heal. Because if she has to talk him into it, she needs to bring something to the negotiating table. She brings nothing but her need, which is to say, I know you want to help me. Because what man would spend all day, every day healing unless he really wanted to help her? And then she does this. She falls at his feet. Some translations, she bows. I don't know if she's kneeling there or if she's crumpled there. But in any case, being at someone's feet is a very vulnerable place to be. I want you to picture a throne room, okay? Big throne room, big king. And if this king is a volatile king, a king who can love you like crazy one minute and the next minute is so angry he's saying off with his head. You know, that is a scary throne room to be in. I guarantee you, you do not stand outside that throne room saying, oh, king, help me. You stay as far away from that throne room as you can get. But if by some misfortune you have to come into that throne room, you're going to come and you're going to bow right inside the door as far away as you can get. Because the closer you are, the more vulnerable you are. He could just, and that's the end of you, right? She comes right up and bows right at his feet, real close. Which is to say, I trust you. I trust you completely. She was acknowledging his kindness. She brings her weakness and acknowledges his kindness. Being at someone's feet is also a place of submission. It's an acknowledgement that the other one is superior in power and authority. And she comes with her need, acknowledging that his power and authority was so much greater than hers, that though she did not have what she needed, he did. And finally, bowing down is a place of worship. She didn't have her answer yet. But she came and she brought all that she was, her heartache, her pain, her liabilities, her brokenness. And she acknowledged everything that he was. He's so good. And he is in the process of bringing all of us into a place of great faith. Because that's on his heart. It was birthed in his heart to bring us to that place. And he who started that good work is not going to finish it. He's not going to stop until it's finished. Because he's also the perfecter of that faith. You want great faith? Okay, stand with me. I would like to pray for you. And please understand, I'm not praying for trials because we got plenty of those to go around already. We're just praying to move through that process to the hope. Okay. Lord, I thank you. I thank you for the tenderness and the kindness of your heart. I thank you that you designed for us to have great faith, to have great intimacy with you, to have a walk with you that's so sweet. Thank you that you are a safe place, that we can come and bow down before you. And I thank you that you are leading us onward. Lord, I pray for each person in the sound of my voice, that you would give them great faith, that you would impart to them the faith that they need for the journey that they're on right now, that there would be something very specific that you give to them, that you would establish them at the level of faith where you're working right now, and that level of intimacy would be strong. And continue to build in us more and more the faith that you want to give. And we ask this in your name. Amen. Do you have anything you want to say? Okay, so I'm going to just dismiss. If any of you want specific prayer, come on up. I'll call the team up. Ken's going to come up and we'll pray for you specifically. But other than that, have a very Merry Christmas.